You likely know a high-earning professional who refuses to throw away a single plastic Ziploc bag, or someone with a 6-month emergency fund who still manually verifies their liquid bank balance 4 times every day. Traditional financial advisors often label these habits as mathematically irrational. Their models evaluate every person as if they started their wealth journey from a neutral baseline of stability. That standard banking model misses a critical variable. It ignores the long-term impact of a childhood defined by macroeconomic asset collapse, or the repetitive daily trauma of the words, "we cannot afford that." While an external economic crisis eventually ends, the neurological software forged during that era remains. The brain's operating system retains the survival code long after the emergency has passed. These rigid habits represent highly specialized survival protocols, executing exactly as they were designed to when the stakes were highest. Severe financial scarcity reshapes cognitive function. Princeton University confirmed that poverty consumes short-term mental bandwidth, operating like a background virus draining active RAM. When a developing brain continuously calculates survival variables, like rent or groceries, those temporary pathways structurally etch into permanent, persistent wiring. Behavioral psychologists classify this permanent installation of structural financial wiring as being crisis-coded. It is a state where the nervous system refuses to power down, even decades after the bank balance has recovered. This trauma rarely produces a single uniform outcome. Instead, it tends to split the demographic into 2 distinct behavioral camps, each one a different logical response to the same initial volatility. In one camp, we find the hoarders. These individuals protect every incoming dollar because their nervous system remembers the exact coordinate of having nothing. For them, liquidity is the only barrier between safety and total collapse. Directly across the spectrum are the spenders. Having watched family savings evaporate, they concluded that long-term security is a fragile illusion. Their logic dictates that capital should be liquidated immediately for tangible utility before it has the chance to disappear again. Both groups are responding to identical datasets with different structural conclusions. They are biological organisms executing highly intelligent strategies to ensure they are never caught vulnerable again. These internalized scripts dictate how an individual interacts with the external banking matrix as an adult. This chart compares adults in identical high-income brackets. Even with similar salaries, the individuals who survived childhood poverty show a massive spike in being unbanked or underbanked. This avoidance stems from authentic structural memory. The brain remembers the exact date a local branch declared a zero balance, or the specific date the state safety net presented a 6-week bureaucratic waiting list while the family went hungry. As a result, these individuals often maintain rigorous paper records. They hide physical cash, demand live human representatives, and view AI as a barrier. Their skepticism toward corporate trust falls represents high-level algorithmic pattern recognition. They are simply applying the lessons of a history where institutions failed them at their point of maximum vulnerability. That same self-reliance often mutates into the do-it-yourself debt loop, where childhood survival skills become a dangerous productivity trap in adulthood. Crisis-raised individuals will often burn 40 hours of high-value career time executing a mechanical task rather than paying a professional. To their nervous system, transferring capital to an outsider feels like a personal defeat. Yet this rigid self-preservation sits alongside the sociological anomaly of asymmetrical generosity. Lower-income survivors routinely donate a higher percentage of their income to charitable causes than the elite wealthy. This is driven by raw mirror neurons. When you possess a cellular memory of starvation and see another person in that same coordinate, your brain bypasses logical wealth preservation. You give because you remember the weight of the moment nobody helped you. This profound empathy has a shadow side. It can lead to streaming unrecoverable loans to relatives, even when the individual is falling behind on their own primary liabilities. The very resourcefulness and empathy that ensured their survival as children can function as dangerous liabilities in a modern, predatory market. Looking at this internal pressure, we have to ask what the ultimate endgame is. Why maintain this level of hypervigilance? Their core wealth objective remains independent of superficial luxury or a standard retirement lifestyle. Their goal is to engineer a generational anchor. They understand the crushing gravity of starting the economic race from absolute sub-zero coordinates, and they are determined to ensure their descendants never face it. This explains the obsessive estate planning, the massive life insurance policies locked down in their 20s, and the custodial investing accounts opened for infants before they can even walk. They are forcefully manufacturing a different structural starting line for the next generation of their family tree. These individuals are masterfully adapted to a hyper-volatile world that proved early on that institutional stability is a manufacturing illusion. These money habits function as highly advanced, perfectly executed survival protocols. Once you trace the data back to the landscape that manufactured them, their behavior makes perfect sense.